Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise, we're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial, just like this one, that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/The Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of the Valley Today.
Hello and welcome to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is the Valley Business Today with the SBA. So a few weeks ago, Carl Knobloch, Virginia District Director of the Small Business Administration, came to town for a conversation about AI and small business. We met up at the Espresso Bar on the Old Town Walking Mall in downtown Winchester to chat. Have a listen. So Carl, we are going to talk today about AI and small business. Before we get in the weeds, though, can you do the beginner's level of what AI is? Because I feel like everybody has a different idea of what it is, and so many people are using it, so many people are afraid of it. How does AI work in a nutshell? Explain it to me like I'm a fourth grader.
One thing that we've been doing for years, when we just had pen and paper, we would write down everything that we sold. And that based our next year, the following year, around that same time frame, we would sit there and look at our historicals.
It was your log.
Yeah, and literally that's how you built your ordering system. Okay, that's data. Mm-hmm. And that data, the more you have, the more accurate you are, so you don't have leftover. You're right on cue, you make more money because you don't have it sitting in inventory. AI is the same concept, but it's using the internet to gather data, and then it's putting the data together, and it basically comes out with an outcome. So let's just say it's a business. It's looking at all the things that are out there talking about that business. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's just putting it together. Now think about it. What a lot of businesses don't understand, like if they move, that AI is going to pick up your old address. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden it's there, and you're going, well, where's that coming from? Nothing goes away in the internet.
It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, so you have to really become relevant in understanding that AI is just grabbing anything, just like kids in the store. They just start grabbing things.
Yeah.
And that's all it does. Is it relevant? No. Years from now, the AI will be able to tell relevancy. At that point, that data becomes even more valued. But right now, it's an infant. Everybody thinks it's really advanced. It's not. It's just grabbing.
Nowhere near as advanced as it's going to be in the future.
That's
You're right.
And you think about it, and I know you work with it, Janet, ChatGPT. It frustrates me. I'll turn it on, the Copilot, and I don't even talk that way. I don't even communicate that way. If I said that, people would say, what's wrong with you, Carl?
So I joked with you about using ChatGPT to write my show notes, and then learned that for search engines, they want transition words. There are certain criteria that make it a better product on a search engine to be found and to be sent in searches. But I don't say moreover in a conversation. And the other thing that kind of creeps people out, so I did a beginner AI seminar for the Luray Page Chamber several months ago, and I was trying to explain to the people in the room that the more that you use it, the more that it will sound like you, but you have to correct it. Like you were talking about earlier, being an infant, it's not much different than raising a toddler. Mm-hmm. You teach a toddler how to speak, about being polite and about manners and respecting your elders. You have to do all of those things to AI so that it gets to know you, which is super cool and super creepy. I always use manners.
Yeah.
I always ask whenever I'm asking you to do anything, I always say please and thank you. And I always tell it did a good job or all of those things, because when it takes over the universe, I want it to remember that I was polite and was nice to it.
You hit on a key point. You literally have to watch how you communicate. And if you're a person that is very emotional, AI will pick it up. And it doesn't distinct loving from anger. It's just word. That's how it looks at things. The other thing I point out to everyone, AI has been around really for years.
Some of the examples I used in that class was autocorrect. I mean, we all complain about texting somebody and autocorrect changes the word. Autocorrect is AI. It's trying to assume what word it is you're going to use next based on all the data that it has collected from all the people who have typed sentences similar to yours. It's still the same thing.
The problem is you can look brilliant with AI or you can look very stupid with AI. And right now, I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes. They're becoming stupid because they're letting it run because it seems to be doing okay. But if you're not fine-tuning or reading the after writing, you'll all of a sudden see, where's that? And how's that correlate to what I'm talking about?
Right now, it's not consistent.
Yeah.
As it probably will be in another 5 years, maybe not even that long. But you're right, you still have to pay attention. I think a lot of times people are using it thinking that it's the easy way out, and it's not, because you still have to read it. You still have to go back and double check that what it was saying is what you meant for it to say.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you have great data, you're okay. You have poor data, guess what? You're going to have to build it. And so your infant's going to even take longer as an infant.
But it's going to be so much more useful and valuable to you in the end if you take the time on the front end to do that.
And I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged because they say, I got to do what?
I thought this was supposed to be easy. First of all, nothing in this world is easy when it comes to running a business. That's just not how it works. But it does have a lot of tools that businesses should be using, even if they're not, like a lot of businesses that I've talked to immediately gravitate to, I'm going to have it do my Facebook posts. You can have it do some of those simple tasks, but what you should really be using it for is to define who your market is and define what those people, how they want to be spoken to. You can use it for all these things that 20 years ago, you had no real way of finding out. You had to dig through census data to find out who lived in a neighborhood, and competitors not going to tell you what their highest selling product was. You now have access to a lot of that information because AI is out gathering that data.
Businesses are overwhelmed with the AI just because it's in the news on a daily basis. Nobody's really had a serious discussion with the different types of business communities where they should actually focus and put their energy. We just went through Small Business Saturday. That's the retail industry. Okay, what is really relevant for you in that data? Because that's one day you could potentially have a big hit.
Right.
So what's the data you would like to get from your customer base for that big one-day hit? Because that develops your foundation. And now you have something to go with. And guess what? If nothing happens on that one day, that's a big indicator.
That's also information you can use.
I need to really look hard at my data here.
Right, because you can use that data that you compiled on Shop Small Saturday in February and in March when the hordes of people aren't coming out and doing all of the shopping. It really is valuable, but how would a small business go about even figuring that out?
I give a lot of credit that the big companies, tech companies, are trying to put education things out there through YouTube or whatever. And I tell people, listen, watch it. It's not to become an expert. What it is to understand the foundation. So when you talk to someone that's going to help you with the data gathering, guess what? You're running everything in your business, and you have to make a decision. Now, if you love gathering data, great.
If that's your jam, this AI is for you.
You're okay. But if you're not into that, then get a college student once again to do that work for you. You have it. Now you can feed AI and get what you're wanting in return. And you can then manipulate and say, no, that's not really what, this is what I want. That's where I think a lot of people lose sight is that people that are going through school now through those specialty programs in high school for the juniors and seniors that get college credit, to the junior colleges, to those that are certificate programs, to the four-year colleges. Any one of those, you can get a student because they're trying to build brand. They're trying to get a job for the future. And the thing,
and they need that experience.
That's right. And even if they're going to go launch their own business based on because they love this, guess what? They got to start someplace. So you become that educational tool, and as long as you're open, and yes, they're going to make some mistakes, but the fact is you both grow together. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing.
Any small business looks back on the first 5 years that they started their business. They can easily point to all the mistakes they made. So that isn't a new concept either. Mistakes are always being made, and learning from them is the valuable lesson in that.
Yeah, when you just go into the bookstore and see how many things say how to run a successful business.
Right, so many books.
And I'm looking at all of them, and I'm going, okay, if I take out everything that everybody talks about because of their sector now, and I go back to root bases, if you just do these root bases, you're either going to know really quick that you got a chance to be successful in business, or really quick that I shouldn't be in business. That's the most important thing of this whole thing. I don't care which book you buy.
What about the idea that AI is going to take jobs?
I used the concept of the assembly line many years ago with the automotive industry. We had the bodies lined up. And as time has moved on, when you can't fill positions, automation takes over. That's just reality. As long as there's bodies there, they don't really look hard. But if they can't get the bodies, they got to find solutions because their customer base
That
is
product still has to roll off that assembly line.
That's right, and that's what expedites. So I use the example like the building trade. There's not enough people to lay brick. But I'm just using brick as an example. Guess what? There's actually a machine now, AI, that can literally lay brick. Its downfall is it can only do straight.
So it can't cut around doorways, it can't make corners,
So
it can't...
guess what? I still need that expert bricklayer for those hard places until such time the technology is advanced enough that it can do that, because there are limitations. And I tell people, God made us very unique. Just look at your hand and your arm. When you look at the robotics, they're trying to mimic the human arm. And the human arm does so many things that yet today, not one robot can do everything that human arm does because of its intricacies. Now, maybe eventually someday, but that's going to be a long time because you got a lot of different components that we have flexibilities that those components are not there yet.
Yeah.
Now, once they get to the nano stage, yes, but they're not there yet. A roof's big demand, no matter what. New roof, old roof, it's always going to be a replacement. Guess what? There's a machine now that can literally lay the roof, certain designs, but it still can't tear the roof apart.
And I think that's the thing that sometimes it gets lumped into this general category of, like I said, AI is taking away the jobs. The other thing that AI is never going to be able to do is have that human component. When you talk about the hand and the arm, AI is great at logic. Logic doesn't always work in every situation.
That's right.
So you need somebody on an assembly line or laying that brick to go, wait, I know this is what it's supposed to do, but then you're going to be off a quarter of an inch, or I know that this family is going to want to do this in the future and they're not going to be able to do that if I do this now. There are a lot of those processes that only a human brain can do. So while AI may be doing some of the labor, you're still going to need people to understand and figure out and plan and be there to oversee the AI.
Just use housing. So we have the traditional house being made. We have a manufactured house that a lot of people think is still a trailer. It's not anymore. It's
Oh, they're so different.
Yeah, but because of our terminologies, we create a bad vibe, and we have to re-educate ourselves on words. Now we have 3D printing. These are all great things, and they all have positives, and they all have negatives. And the thing is, you have to weigh all those, and it also depends where you live. If you're in a really cold environment, I'm guaranteed some of those things that look really good. Let's just use battery-powered cars. When it's really cold, they struggle. They're still trying to figure the technology to get that working more smoothly. Warm areas is great. That's what we talk about. Everything eventually improves. That's the whole idea. And that's because of us as human beings and our minds. We find solutions. Instead of saying my job's going away, you have to look hard and say, will my job go away? And if it does, what is the new market that's going to be created because of taking that job? Something is going to have to support that unit that's doing that job. What's the support mechanisms for it? And I use a classic example. I was down in Danville where they have a big Navy contract to train people to go work for defense contractors. It's a 4-month program, totally paid for.
Oh, I think you told me about this.
Yeah, and they're totally paid for. And the thing is...
And they house them in the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
And so they have a job after 4 months, making $70K. Can't beat it. But the thing what's amazing is I'm sitting there and I'm watching these people learn on state-of-the-art CNC machines, going to it and everything, and 3D printing. And then I have the instructors come and said, yeah, we have to get some of the old units because the military still has a lot of old equipment that parts aren't being made anymore, but the equipment is still good.
Our radio station is the perfect example of that. It is an old building, it's a concrete block building, and Lonnie struggles when something breaks to find a part for the actual tower or for one of the boards, any of those kinds of things, because it still works, and we need somebody like him to know how to fix it. So his job's never going to be replaced by AI. And while a lot of your larger stations and your national broadcasting companies can go digital, that still isn't an option for every small business. But you got to figure out how to take some of those pieces and integrate it into what you're doing now.
Yeah, because I got a real eye-opening up here when I was talking about the trades and all that. And I was in agricultural community, and a farmer came up to me and says, you know what's really hurting us? And I said, what? He says, we have nobody to work on our vehicles. We don't have any agricultural technicians. And he says, there are no agricultural technician programs to speak of.
And those tractors will run for 50, 60, 100 years if you maintain them.
Think about all the, the thing I love is tractor pulls. I shoot that baby up so it can pull. But
I never would have taken you for a tractor pull guy.
No,
that is awesome.
But the fact is, you're absolutely right. You see those 1912 vehicles, and they're still working in the field, and they do the job for that size field. Think about it, people. You're not going to put a big power rig on a 30-acre farm.
No.
And so you got to understand, if you look at the average size farm, you would understand it's not the big rigs.
Yeah, they're not getting bigger anymore. And it's funny too, because it's also, not only is it the technology and how we do things, the generations are changing.
Yes.
Like the jobs that my dad and my grandfather did are not jobs that my son or his son are going to want to do. So you've got to look at, okay, what happens when generational change happens and these jobs are not going to be fulfilled? Maybe my kid will do a job that my dad did, but it's going to look totally different in order for him to do it. You've got to be able to see when that's coming down the pike and start making changes before it's suddenly on your doorstep.
Yeah, and the one thing that a lot of countries always talk about the United States is our quality. But when we did quality, we made things last for years. Guess what? Our society, because of technology, is throwaway.
Yeah, let's take a look at the iPhone, for example.
Yes.
The number of people that upgrade that phone every year when it comes out because it's a new phone and maybe has a tiny little megapixel better camera than the one that they already have, versus the people who, like my husband, bless his heart, is still using an 11 and they're out with, I think 17 was the last one, because there's nothing wrong with it. Eventually, there's going to be something wrong with it. It's not going to be supported.
And you hit the key word right there, support. And that's what the companies do. They basically say, we no longer support it. So it's gone. That's the only way it disappears.
Windows XP is a perfect example of that.
XP was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah. One of the industries where everybody's talking about 3D printing, the people that are creating the object or product, they're doing CAD. But yet that's drafting. So you're going from drafting to CAD, and people say that'll eventually take our jobs away. The AI will start generating that. Yes, but guess what? New and innovative parts are still going to come from the human mind, because the AI only can pull what it knows. And I always need somebody that has a totally different way to look at something and then say, nope, it could be done like this. Or I could use this material instead of that material.
And quality control is never going to be done by AI, because it needs human eyesight. It needs people to pick it up and to look at it and to do all of the things, because a machine is never going to be able to do that the way a human can, knowing how a particular part works.
And I'll use a perfect example, smell. I can teach AI smell. All it's doing is pulling the chemical products that are in there and say, this is the smell of that perfume. But the human scent picks up those things that it can't. And that's why it appeals to this person, but not this
the other person.
And,
Yeah.
But the formula is the same. And I laugh about this because my mother just passed away. And she had her cookie recipe, sugar cookie recipe for this time of the year. And so I have the 2 recipes, and I'm trying to figure out which one she's using. So I went to make it, and I gave it to my kids. I said, okay, which one reminds you of Nana? The one says, this cookie's the closest to it. And the other one goes, no, this cookie is the closest. And they're giving me the analogy of the 2 of why it's closest. One's taste, one's texture.
Oh my God,
And
your
they'll
mother
go,
was like me, and she was combining those 2 recipes out of her brain.
That's what I'm sitting there saying. She was combined. That was the secret. And now I got to go back now and I'm going to start working the secret. And that's AI right there. And that's what I'm saying. If AI doesn't get all the information.
Bad info in, bad info out.
That's right. And that's the one thing we're going to discover as people jump on this AI bandwagon. Yeah.
So let's switch gears for a second when we're talking about AI, because one of the things that I always stress to small business owners to use it for out of the gate is research and planning. Because sometimes small business owners get stuck in their box. They're working, what is the phrase? They're working in their business instead of on their business.
Right.
And so they do a certain thing a certain way, or they don't have a business plan because what was it for years? I'm not going to do a business plan. It's 400 pages long. And now you can literally use AI to give you a strategic plan. Not one that you may use and implement right off of the screen, but it gives you so many more ideas. I run into so many people that are like, yeah, but you're creative. You can come up with these marketing ideas. That's not how my brain works. These are perfect uses for AI. We're sitting at the espresso bar today having our conversation. I have a small coffee shop that serves these types of coffees to these types of people. What are some fun marketing ideas that I can do to increase my customer base? What are some things that I should be aware of in the future from the coffee industry that might impact my prices? There are a lot of things that you can use AI for that aren't search engines. I think sometimes people get the 2 confused because the line is blurred a little bit there.
The thing is, yes, there's a search engine, the web and all that. If you're not on the web, guess what? You have nothing.
It's as unreliable at best as AI is at times.
That's right. But you do have data. I don't care how sloppy your books are, there is data there. I can literally dig through it. That's what AI can't do. It just gathers it and spews it out. A human being can literally start piecing it together and tell a story based on what it sees. And then it can ask you questions to make the story complete.
And those are invaluable.
That's right. Just like when you were talking about the coffee shop, okay? And you were talking about the customer base and all that. The other thing I look at is, what are my product lines and how are they moving? Because I got inventory sitting over here. How long does it take it to turn? I have all that data. And why is that important? Because there's some things I may just take off the books that I started years ago, but nobody's getting it now, but yet I have inventory sitting over here with that product, and the only way I get rid of it is I put it on sale. Well, I already lost money because it's sat so long on inventory. And so you have information, even if you're not on the web.
It's one of the big pieces that a lot of small businesses overlook. They assume that they don't because they don't know what data is valuable and where to find it within their own structure.
Yeah, and when you're in business, what's my success rate? If I put this many bids out, how many are we going to win? You can determine that based on the companies you're competing against, because you already know who the players are going to typically be with you. You already know their success rate. You know your success rate. Now, what changes it? And that's the things that the data shows. Typical number one issue is price.
Right.
Guess what? If you're always going to lose on price, quit wasting your energy and go to markets where your price is going to give you success.
Or is a secondary decision maker.
Absolutely.
People will pay a little more if your customer service is on par, or you offer delivery or other things. You do have to know where you are in the market.
Yeah, and a lot of people will pay extra for customer service because that is the biggest thing people complain about. Think about the write-ups that you get that evaluate. It's about the service. It's nothing else.
We recently switched from Comcast internet at the house, internet and television, to Verizon. Originally, it was because it was cost. It was crazy. We were paying Comcast something like $330 a month, and we had no premium channels. We just had regular cable and the internet. and they laid FiOS in our backyard last year, so I knew it would be a matter of time before Verizon came knocking on the door and asking if we wanted to switch, and it happened in early November. They were able to give us practically the same thing that Comcast did for half the price. Now, my husband was ready to go. That was all that mattered to him. He was okay with spending $150 less a month on cable. I, however, look at other options. The reason that we ended up switching and going to Verizon, because the thing that I weighed is, look, Comcast is great, and they have probably a 90% uptime, but that other 10% is a nightmare. Their customer service is not good at all. If your internet goes out or your TV has some sort of glitch, trying to talk to somebody and then trying to get that fixed is a nightmare. And I thought, you know what? It's just not worth it. So, okay, that was the other thing that put me over the edge to switch to Verizon.
And I think you hit on a very key point. A lot of the big companies are using AI as their front line for calling. And the thing is, what you're finding out is those that put in, as I call, big dollars into it, can understand a variety of words and mean the same thing. And then you have others that are so infinite, they know one word. And if you don't say that one word, you're not. And you will never get to a customer service rep.
No.
Okay, it used to be you could hit 0 and they'd get you there. No more. No, that's too soon.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. Hey, AI can do your front line and you don't have to have people. You better understand the variety of questions you get. Yes, AI is good for elemental, just a standard answer very quick. I forgot my password. How do I get it?
Right.
Fix it. That's a quick in and it can give that answer. But if I sit here and say, forgot my password, I've gone in, did your changes, but it's still not working, what's the issue? At that
That's
point,
above the AI's
that's above the
pay
AI.
grade.
That's right. So now I have to get to a real person. But what it's going to do, it's going to ask you 5 other questions before you get to the real person, because they think that's the way to keep you pushed off. And that's why I try to tell people, understand AI can be a great customer service, or it can be also your worst nightmare. We're hearing that more and more from people as this AI becomes integrated into, especially the big companies. People are leaving companies because of these nightmares they have to go through.
Well, because again, that human component AI doesn't take into effect the fact that every individual, while my question may be the same as 40 other people, when I'm asking you, it only applies to me. They're not taking into account the fact that when I ask you something, I'm asking you in my way and how it's impacting me, which might be the same question as 30 other people, but how it's impacting them might be different. And it's got to be able to take all that into account. And sometimes it goes into overload and is like Rosie on the Jetsons, and all of a sudden steam comes out of her head.
I'll tell you the number one thing that none of the AIs are addressing right now. It's a death of someone, and you're having to address their accounts. It does not know what to do. And then when you get to a real person, it doesn't know what to do. So you want to talk about a whole market that's not even being tapped? Think about people that are dying every day, and people are having to take responsibility for trying to straighten out their matters. And they're already stressed because of the loss, and yet they're still having to deal with this. And yet companies don't even think about it.
The most personal of all things that are ever going to happen to somebody.
And they don't even think about it.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, and that's when you want to talk to a human more than at any other for any other
you want to
thing.
address it quickly and smoothly, so the pain is lessened, but you're driven to continually be reminded of what you're having to go through, and that's what companies don't even take into account.
No, and those that have a human on the other end will get themselves. You may be closing out an account for your mom, for example, and got such great service that maybe you'll consider using the bank that she used or using the company that she used because they were so great in getting your problem resolved, understanding your grief process. They can use it as a sales tool, not just as a customer service tool.
You're right, because I'm leaving the one bank because of how ridiculous they've been. And I've gone to another bank that just basically made it seamless. You got to understand life events, and companies don't even think that out.
No.
So you, as a store owner, especially when people are buying product and things like that, and that person passes away and all of a sudden a family member is calling you, you got to sit here and understand, do I have that as part of my marketing program, how I deal with that?
Yeah, and then you factor in the fact that, so if something happened to me, Tim doesn't even know how to turn it on my computer. And most of our bills are paid automatically. And there are things that I'm paying for, my audio editing software, the hosting for the ValleyTodayPodcast.com, all these things that he's not even going to know exist, much less how to call someone, because that's what he's going to want to do. He doesn't do email, so he's going to have to pick up the phone and call somebody. He's not going to even know where to go for a chatbot or some of that stuff. You've really got to take into account how all of that stuff works and make it easy for people.
Yeah, and see, people don't think of that part on the business side.
No.
They expect the person that handles it have it all lined out. And this is a thing that happens on a daily basis, but yet nobody talks about it.
Another perfect example of that is using Facebook.
Yeah.
I have at least 8 to 12 friends on my friends list in Facebook that are dead, that have passed. And their pages still are, and they're just out there for eternity. I still get notifications when it's their birthday. I still sometimes will see an ad that says so-and-so likes this, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that they don't. And Facebook has those mechanisms. You can go in and you can create someone who is your person of trust if you get hacked and they can get in. But then they also give you the ability to convert your account to a legacy account and give somebody else on your friends list the ability to do that. But I guarantee you, most people don't know it's there, and most people don't know how to do it, even if they knew that it was there.
And the thing is, companies don't talk about it.
No, because it's the D word. And it is one of those things, too, that is so, when we talk about being individualized, you will have people that are like, okay, I just need to do 1, 2, 3. I don't need to talk to you. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need any of that. And then you have the people who are, let me tell you about my mom. And she was a great person. And this is one of my best memories. You've got such a gamut of how people get through that grief that you need to deal with them. And if nobody's doing it, everybody loses.
Yeah, those places that solved it quickly, I'll do business with them. Those that put me through a nightmare, I'm done with you. And I promise you, anytime anybody ever brings it up, and somebody gives me a gift from you from there, I'm sending it back.
Because you are very much like me. Once you are done, you are done. So what advice do you have? Say there is a small business that's listening right now, and they're maybe using a little bit of ChatGPT here and there to polish up, like I said earlier, a social media post or whatnot. What advice do you have? What would be the first thing that you would tell small business owners to use AI for?
For me, it's really forecasting, because you have the data. It's a low-hanging fruit. You already have the information. AI can decipher it and massage it and give you honest assessment. And then you have to throw the personal out and decide, am I going to do that or not? But that gives you the ability to properly forecast. The biggest thing I always cringe about is when I see inventory. And I see it there, and I'm asking, first question I ask them, what's your turn rate? And they look at me, what? I said, there's dust on this stuff. So when's the last time it turned? And then they tell me, I got a really great sale on it. And I'm going, it doesn't matter. What's the turn rate? Because nobody's buying it.
Yeah, wasn't that great of a deal if it's still sitting here?
That's the number one thing I look at, because once you know that, then you're able to focus on your customer, because that data is telling you what your customers are buying.
And a lot of people that aren't familiar with even the basic AIs, like the ChatGPTs or Copilot or any of that, don't even know that you can take a simple Excel spreadsheet and you can upload it, you can add it as a file and say, hey, I need you to analyze whatever, ask the question, or just upload it and say, what jumps out at you as what could be a potential problem? And it will at least get you started down that path.
Yes, and if you're so terrified of it, once again, you have the young people.
Yes.
And they will sit here and get you whatever you want, and then they'll have a big smile on their face. Okay? And say, look what I know you don't.
And it is so crazy. So Josh was home over Thanksgiving break, and he is working on this new pitching program. His brain does not function with using Canva or images or even the marketing to a certain degree, because he's always just dependent on me to tell him, hey, you should say it this way and whatnot. And so now he's got this new pitching program he's about to release, and so he thought he was going to one-up me. And so he asks Gemini, Google's Gemini, about what would I need to put together, and so it sends him this whole big thing, and he hits copy and sends it all to me. And I just did my marketing plan. And I'm like, okay, first of all, this is wrong. Second of all, that's not going to work. And third, who's going to create all these images that it's saying that you need to do? And he's just staring at me like, wait, what? And I'm like, so listen here, Mr. Smarty Pants, you might know how to use the information, but you got to know how to implement the information that it gives you. And again, full circle, that comes back to human beings.
Yeah. Yep. That is, I love that word you just said, implement.
Yes.
How do you implement it? It can give you a lot of good stuff, but how do you implement it?
And that's the key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with me about this. This was really interesting. We may have to do we may have to pick an AI project and kind of follow through the year on how that works.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting.
Because it's so different for so many people. Like what we're talking about today is small businesses, but it's fantastic for nonprofits. It's good for large corporate companies. It's good for farmers. It can be used in any industry in any number of ways.
You know, it would be fascinating if there's a company out there or nonprofit out there that would like to be part of this experiment.
Maybe we'll do a case study, a year long.
Yeah, and see how it goes.
All right.
And then that way it becomes a value tool. But what we want to hear from is the people that want to do it.
Not the people who are, gritting their teeth and complaining and muttering under their breath like Grandpa.
Yeah.
No offense, Grandpa's out there. So Janet at theriver953.com, send me an email. You know where to find me, thevalleytodaypodcast.com, all of those places. I hope you, my friend, have a fantastic holiday, and we'll get back together in January.
I'm looking forward to it, and same to you.
Well, that's it for us today. I am back tomorrow with a brand new conversation on the Valley Today, talking with Dr. Hofel, Valley Health's medical director for urgent care. He's got some advice on where to go when if you're having a medical issue. So meet me back here for that just a few minutes after noon.